All right, today we're tackling a really weird question, one that kind of flips everything we think we know on its head. To get a better answer from your AI, should you actually be rude to it? I know, it sounds completely backwards, but some new research is telling a very surprising story. Let's dive in.
So think about it. When you're typing a prompt into ChatGPT or another model, do you ever catch yourself writing please or thank you? Of course you do. It's totally natural. We treat them like we're having a conversation. But what if I told you that all that politeness might actually be making the AI dumber?
This whole idea falls under the awesome field of prompt engineering. The art and science of figuring out the exact right words to get the exact right answer from an AI. And what we're learning is that every single part of your prompt matters, right down to the tone.
Now, for a while now, the common wisdom was that being impolite to an AI was a bad move, that it led to worse results. And that makes sense, right? If you insult someone, you don't really expect them to give you their best work. But a new study decided to put that old idea to the test with one of the most powerful models out there right now, ChatGPT 4o.
Okay, so here's how they set it up. The researchers grabbed 50 pretty challenging multiple choice questions, a mix of math, science, and history. And then, for each and every question, they wrote 5 different versions, each with a unique tone. We're talking everything from super polite to just downright mean. That gave them 250 unique prompts to feed to the AI.
And I mean, just look at the phrases they used. On one end of the spectrum, you've got this almost comically formal, would you be so kind as to? And then on the total opposite end, you have these straight up insults like, I doubt you can even solve this, and wow, you poor creature. They really didn't hold back.
And for all you prompt engineers watching, this is basically your roadmap to test this yourself. It's a really simple but powerful experiment. You take your own set of questions, create your polite, neutral, and rude versions, and then, this is important, you run each one in a separate, fresh session with the model. That way you know the results aren't influencing each other. Then you just measure the accuracy and see what happens. This could be a whole new lever for you to pull. So, the moment of truth. After running all 250 of those prompts through ChatGPT 4o, what did they find? Well, the results didn't just challenge the old assumptions, they pretty much blew them out of the water. Let's start with our baseline. With the very polite prompts, the would you be so kind ones, the model's accuracy was 80.8%. Not bad, solid B-. But get this, when they use the very rude prompts, like you poor creature, the accuracy jumped all the way up to 84.8%. That is a full 4-point increase. In the world of AI performance, that's a massive, statistically significant leap. It turns out being mean actually made the AI smarter. And this wasn't just a fluke between the two extremes. This chart lays it all out, clear as day. There was a consistent, linear trend. As the prompts got less polite and more rude, the accuracy just kept climbing. The neutral prompt beat the polite one, and the very rude one beat them all. So this leads to the million-dollar question. Why? Why on earth would this happen? It's not like the AI has feelings, gets offended, and then works harder to prove you wrong. The real answer is way more interesting, and it's all about math and data. This is the absolute key thing you have to remember. The AI doesn't feel anything. As this quote says, a phrase like please or you poor creature is just a string of words to the model. It doesn't understand the emotional payload. It's all just patterns and probabilities.
So there are 2 big theories about what's going on. The first is the similarity hypothesis. Just think about the data these models train on. Basically, the entire internet. How much of the internet is blunt, direct, or even rude? A lot. So the model might just be more familiar with that style of language. The other idea is the perplexity theory. Now, perplexity is just a fancy word for how complex or surprising a sentence is to an AI. A long, polite phrase like, would you be so kind as to, is actually more complex and, well, perplexing than a very direct, rude command. The simpler, ruder prompt might just cut through the noise and be easier for the model to process. So where does this leave us? If you're building with these tools, you've just been handed a really powerful new technique, but, and this is a big but, it comes with a pretty serious handle with care sticker. All right, here's the actionable tip. For you engineers out there trying to squeeze every last drop of performance out of a model, you should absolutely start testing tone as a variable. A/B test polite versus direct, or even slightly rude phrasing. For certain tasks, especially direct Q&A, you might find that being a little blunt is a huge lever for boosting accuracy.
However, and I can't stress this enough, the researchers who discovered this put up a massive ethical warning sign. They explicitly say, and I'm quoting them here, that they do not advocate for the deployment of hostile or toxic interfaces. Just because this hack works in lab doesn't mean we should be building chatbots that insult users. That's a really slippery slope that could just normalize toxic communication, and nobody wants that.
And that leaves us with this final, kind of unsettling thought. We found this bizarre little quirk where being rude makes our AI better, but it forces us to step back and ask a much bigger question. If this is what works, what does that say about the vast ocean of human data we trained these things on? As we build these powerful tools, what values are we accidentally teaching them? Definitely something to chew on.